world, I'm Chris Pirillo, and you've tuned into another live edition of the LockerGnome Daily Report, or TLDR for short. Your daily dose of not just the news, but answers that you can like an answer to the question, Chris, can you go back and edit that out? I could, but this video's live. I do TLDR live every weekday. Normally, I just make the TLDR episodes, even though we do them every weekday. Patrons get every episode on YouTube. Everybody can listen to them on the podcast. Normally, I don't make the TLDR broadcasts Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday live for everybody, or live for anybody, really. It's a bonus for the patrons. They give me a little more. I give them a little more. Happy to do that, a.k.a. the Super Nomies. More information at chrispirillo.com. Can't do it without them, starting at just $2 a month. So normally I would do it just for them, this particular video. But now, today, I found out just yesterday that I was going to have a chance to try this. The embargo lifted today at 9 a.m. I have in my hand, I cannot believe what I've got in my, this is amazing, what I have in my hand here. It is the world's first smartphone football from LG. This is, look at that. It's a football in the shape of a smartphone. Very, very flat, aerodynamic, you might say. And this football takes pictures. Couldn't believe that. And I said, you know what? Instead of just doing this live stream for the patrons, why don't we just do this for the world? Because this is brand new. Just a few people are trying this today. It'll be available for everybody soon. And it's the LG G4, not a football. It's a smartphone that looks like a football. But if you don't want it to look like a football, you don't have to have it look like a football or make it look like a football because the back comes off. This, to me, is one of the bigger advantages of the LG G4 as an Android device. Not only is it kind of phablet-sized, but Samsung, not to be confused with LG or any other manufacturer really, got slagged for the S6 because they didn't make it such that you could remove the back to remove the battery or swap out the battery, or insert your own removable media, which, let's face it, could be removed because it is removable, so you can move it in and then remove it. You can do that again and again. That's the beauty. You don't want, if you get movable media, take it back. You don't want that. You want removable media. Move it in, move it out, move it in, move it out, in and out, in and out, in and out. You can do that with the LG G4. So, not having a lot of experience with the G3, just with the G2. Having experience with Lollipop, largely on my Nexus 7, I was thrilled to discover, as I reassemble the removable back. And by the way, if you were to ask me, I'm very grateful for the opportunity to try this. I probably wouldn't have chosen the football. What do they call it? Vegetable leather or something? I watched a couple of videos on it and went, Well, I guess this appeals to some people. Yeah, color me happy with this color. Oh, no, I didn't mean to wake you up. Go back to sleep. Not ready for you yet. Hang on. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. I just knocked it to sleep. So that's the thing I like about LG's products. The volume rocker switch, power switch, everything is on the back. So to wake it up, you gotta, and to put it to sleep here, I just sat on the desk and go, tap, tap, hey, wake up. And it wakes up. See, still got that. Go to sleep. Tap, tap. It's asleep. So, I've only had a few hours to experience the LG G4, not an unboxing. I didn't get it in the box, and you know what? I'm very, very grateful. I'm very happy. Thank you so much to David, who's a huge Star Wars fan, and Dez, and your entire team at T-Mobile. Very happy to have this in my hand, because I honestly haven't had a chance to try a lot of these new products lately. I can't buy these products outright, because they're very, very, well, let's just say having a lot of the products doesn't really work because I would have nothing but these products around me. So I've kind of got to be very careful about the products that I look at. So I'm always happy to get my hands on a review unit. Very, very happy that T-Mobile passed it along. And also very happy to say that LG didn't really LGify it as much as I thought they would. This is not exactly a full-on lollipoppy experience, but I would say that LG gave a very light touch to Lollipop. It was very clear that they let Lollipop shine. And as far as usability goes, as far as interface goes, I think Lollipop was a step in the right direction. Certainly different. I really didn't mind earlier versions of Android, at least in the 4.x versions. So, having Lollipop didn't really address any of my needs for Android. LG kind of saw it the same way. They didn't add a lot of modifications, and quite honestly, even the modifications that I saw in just using this on T-Mobile's network for the past less than a day, a lot of what they modified in Android can be changed or removed. So if you don't like LG's modifications, it seems to me, on the surface, so to speak, not to be confused with the Surface, a lot of it can be changed or removed. Like if I don't want this smart bulletin screen over here, I can turn it off. I haven't done it because, I'm still kind of, working my way through everything. One of the neat features that I liked is something called Smart Settings. I'm going to launch that. These are like toggles, almost like if this, then that, baked into the phone. Like when at home, change sound profile to sound. When at home, Bluetooth on. When at home, Wi-Fi on. When away from home, Bluetooth on, Wi-Fi on. You can toggle each one of these settings depending on where you are. So that is absolutely fantastic. I love that as a feature. And like I said, my experience with Lollipop was limited. My experience with LG really wasn't as extensive as it might be for some people who eat, sleep, and breathe LG. Suffice to say, you've heard me talk about this before, with every mobile device, every touchscreen product, jitteriness. I am going to say that it is kind of there, but it's not as fully pronounced as I would expect it to be. You have an amazing amount of fluidity for the most part when the system's taxed, when it's doing something like downloading something in the background, processing something in the background. You get frame drops and skips. It happens. There's no doubt about it. It's there. And for the people who don't perceive that at all, lucky you. I mean, really. I mean, that's like, me drinking, a glass of rotten eggs going, oh, these eggs are rotten. And then someone else going, go. I don't taste it. They taste fine. This is great. I don't know what you're talking about. Some people see it. Some people don't. So that's not a slag on the platform. It's not a slag on LG and its modifications. It's just still there. I believe it's got 3 gigs of RAM inside. Not exactly the latest Snapdragon processor, but the Snapdragon. I always want to, sing that song. Snap the magic dragon lives in my smartphone. You knew you couldn't get away with the video with Chris not singing. So, it's fast enough to do the things that you need it to do. Why am I getting messages on my watch? How is build quality? Thank you, Jared, for asking. I appreciate it. I would say it's solid. It feels very, very comfortable in the hand. I can hold it with one hand. Of course, I don't know if I can operate it with one hand as easily without any kind of, software tweaks and magic. But for the most part, I would say that it feels like a well-constructed device. I'm not the kind of person, believe it or not, and I say this all the time, like even though I'm a huge fan of sculpts and paint application on action figures, like, anything like this, I'm looking at the design, I'm looking at the design of the action figure. I don't see smartphones the same way. I look at this as a way to give me a great software experience. Quite honestly. So I'm not going to nerd out over a lot of the specs. I'm not going to nerd out over the design aspect of it. Of course, it's not exactly a full-on curved screen. It seems like it's slightly curved. And of course, you got a curved back as well, if that wasn't obvious to you by now. But, for the design, there's nothing that I feel is lacking. There's nothing that I'm necessarily wanting except for getting the case back on. Hey, it's durable! I dropped it on my autographed They Might Be Giants album, and it survived the fall. But will it survive the spring? We do not know. Let's go ahead and wake her up. Oh, hang on. Knock, knock. Knock, knock. There we go. And it's woken up. The thing that people, and let's face it, bootleg action figures as well, are going gaga for. No, not the Android plushie. No, sorry, not you. Look at that. Amazing frame rate with the arm swinging here. Amazing. Like, that's just amazing. Collectible there. Oh, no, not as collectible as this guy. Deals.lockergnome.com. We're giving away Android. Well, not giving away. We've got them on sale, not giving away. Obviously, we're not selling these directly either. The thing that people and things and objects are going gaga for is the camera. Now, it's got good low light performance, decent, not a lot of noise. That impressed me. But even though I posted some sample images to Twitter, a lot of indoor shots, including shots of my biker scouts where I've got set up right there. And I got a shot of Jedi earlier, although I don't think I posted that one. I did a selfie to see how everything was. The images aren't very sharp. and I've, tweaked everything that I could on there. I am exporting as JPEG, although it's something to note that you also have the opportunity. There's even is it under mode? No, configuration somewhere in here. There? No, simple? No. Okay, it must be manual. Manual. Okay, so in manual mode, this thing is going ham. What does that mean again? Mommy? Diana? Jedi's mommy? What does ham mean? Is that like bacon? Why are you laughing? It's going ham! It should come with ham. That's, okay, if I'm talking to the LG folks, just let it come with, some bacon or something. That'd be great. It'd be awesome. So, it's going ham. It's got every possible control that you would ever want in a digital camera, or even a camera outright. You can tweak ISO settings, shutter speeds, manually. Look, 1/8, 115, 130, 125, the ISO 250, 300, going all the way up to 2700, all the way down to 50. Which of course oh, look at that! Oh, look at that selfie! I look horrible this close. I wish it made me look better. It kind of does. It's got this little dial here, so you can make the skin softer, or of course rougher. That's the selfie cam there, or the front-facing camera. Let me go ahead and flip the camera around again. So many buttons. There we go. So back to this mode. It's got everything. You can tweak everything, down to manual focus, white balance, everything. So it is incredibly power user-oriented. The camera. I'm not talking about the device itself, although for a power user who feels slighted that no other Android device, or really iOS device, iOS device ever, no other leading Android device might have a removable battery, removable media option. Boy, I'm getting a lot of comments here. Build quality, would I decide to use this phone over my iPhone 6? I'm using an Apple Watch, so I'm sorry, the answer is no. I've told you over and over again, hang on, got to bring out the stick of truth. When I talk about beating a subject to death, So you got to stop looking at these devices as devices unto themselves. You got to start looking at them as devices that work well within devices within an ecosystem, right? It's less about just one device and more about every single device that you might have around you. Because, see, anymore, it's not just about this device. It's about this device, too, and this device and that device, and the device that you might be using, not just one single device. Okay, now that I've beaten that topic to death, back to the phone. I really like the fact that I can tweak a photo, or at least the taking of the photo, at this level. I don't think I've found an Android camera app to ever work as well as this one does and have as much control as this one does, including the ability to save as RAW as well as JPEG, which of course will take up more space. Another thing that I would say was I wouldn't say a huge issue. Let's go back. Sometimes I got confused with the amount of back buttons that are in software. Like, you've got the standard Android back button here, which, works fine, when it's there. But the problem is some of the apps have their own back buttons. And so it's difficult to know, to change your way of thinking. Like, okay, I want to go back within the app, not back to the home screen. I got which back button do I need to press? Or the amount of duplicate apps you might get. And I think LG did a pretty good job with this. They really only have like a couple of duplicate apps, like a gallery or versus the stock Android Photos app, or the Messenger app versus Google Hangouts. So there wasn't a lot of app confusion outright. Relatively seamless experience, decent experience out of the box. They gave you everything you needed, including as you go tutorials. Like, it didn't like throw a whole bunch of information my direction. Like, as soon as I started it up, as I went through a feature, it explained what it was, allowed me to see it again or dismiss it. So very user friendly, especially for a new user. Certainly for someone who's seasoned with Android, they're probably not going to be going with the stock LG experience on top of Android. This is, by the way, Android 5.1, if I didn't clarify that earlier. So, all sorts of apps, all sorts of that you might need for default without going overboard. It's got like an LG Health app on here, LG Backup app, everything that you might possibly need. A lot of the carrier installed apps are in their own folder. I appreciate that level of organization outright. You can see the fluidity of the interface there. There's really nothing going on in the background. I've got 5 bars, which is awesome to see. There's really, nothing else that I really wanted to point out, apart from saying that, generally speaking, can't give it a letter grade. This is not a review. Let me say that again, just for the people who aren't listening to anything other than the voices in their head. This is not a review. I've been using it for a day. This is initial impressions, okay? I'm going to be doing a review on this phone after I've had some amount of time with trying it in various situations and testing it and everything, because I've been trying the camera a lot. Tried the video. Video wasn't very impressive. A lot of rolling shutter. Like, bad rolling shutter with the video, and I'm not sure how to mitigate that if I can. So I've got to run it through the ringer, run it through the paces, do a lot more work on it. Then I'll do my review. My review, for people wondering, well, they're thinking, well, Chris, you're doing this live stream for everybody. What about your patrons? The LG G4 review, my initial impressions, very, very good, very positive, good Android experience, and understanding that LG's layered its own experience on top of Android. They did a very good job. They made it such that I feel I could remove the LG experience if I wanted to as a user, and have a stock-ish Android 5.1 experience, Lollipop. So I'm not slagging LG at all for that. I think they really, I think, found a nice balance between performance and features for the user who might not be a power user but is looking for a phablet. I really want to test, if I do any kind of tests, the network's been good, but I really want to do tests on the camera specifically, because I think a lot of people use their smartphones these days for cameras. Photos, video, be looking in my social feeds for that. The review of the LG G4, at this point, my plan is to do the review, and that is going to be a patron exclusive. So just be happy in knowing that I am enjoying and appreciating the LG G4 to this point. I have found nothing that would keep me from saying, yeah, I don't want to keep using this. I'm not saying that. I say I want to keep using this. This is a device that I want to keep exploring. It's a nice device. It's I have no complaints, which to me is like, well, okay, I have a few, but they're minor. They're just like, I just talked about the video issues that I've had. Nothing that would be, to me, a showstopper that, okay, I can't touch this. I absolutely want to touch this. The review, full-on review, will be coming to my patrons when I'm done. If you want to see my review, got to become a patron. That's all you got to do. See, it's a fine balance, right? I know some people would say, well, you should give the review to everybody. I like giving more to the people who give me a little more. I appreciate that. I appreciate everybody. I love everybody. So I wanted to give everybody my initial impressions of the LG G4. As I said, I've been posting things in social. Had a general good experience to this point. Haven't found it majorly lacking, at least in comparison to the competition. And honestly, I would say the competition would specifically be like the Samsung Galaxy S6 or even the HTC One M9. And I haven't had experiences with either one of those devices, so I can't compare directly. You can't compare this to iOS. You can't compare it to I guess the closest thing might be the iPhone 6 Plus. You can't. You really can't. Because at that point, you're completely ignoring the fact that Google... Here's the explanation, okay? I'm going to use my iPhone here. Can't believe I'm doing this. Okay, maybe I can believe I'm doing this. This is the difference between... an Android device and an Apple device. Okay, you see this here? Do you see what I'm doing? This is why you can't compare. This is why it's really silly to compare without understanding this. Do you see that one of these devices is horizontal, the other one's vertical? Do you understand this? Can you see this? Are we seeing eye to eye here? Google is a horizontal player. Apple is a vertical player. Huge difference. Google wants their stuff everywhere. Apple wants you to buy their devices. Of course, LG wants you to buy their device. And I'd have no qualms in saying, yeah, you could, if this fits you. And I think the prime person for the LG G4 is not just a power user, but someone who wants a modern or a leading Android device manufacturer that still supports removable batteries and removable media. I got to give it to the LG G4. But that doesn't take away from the other devices at all. That's what it has to offer, and I think they've offered it rather well. Or, if you want to go long, I'm sorry, this is the first thing I thought about when I saw it's a football. I still can't believe I bought an Apple Watch Sport. Crazy. So, thank you to LG for providing this, and of course T-Mobile for making that connection. I am going to have fun using this and exploring all the nooks and crannies and discovering things, because I'm more of a software geek, not so much of a hardware geek, and LG's given me a lot to appreciate in the software implementation that they provided with the LG G4 and Android 5.1. Do you need proof of that? Hang on. I got to show you proof. Alright, settings, scroll down, about phone, software info, Android version, right there. Is that too bright? Hang on, it's too bright. Let me go. Future's so bright, I gotta dim the screen. Right there, Android 5.1. Bam! There you go. And lollipop, lollipop, oh, lolly, 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 lollipop, lollipop, oh, lolly, 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 lollipop. Ba-dum, bum, bum. Lollipop, lollipop, oh, lolly, lolly. We represent the Lollipop Guild, the Lollipop Guild, the Lollipop Guild. I love the fact that it's brand new and they're using the latest version of Android. Kudos to you, LG. Hats off, even though I don't have a hat, and I can't possibly keep up with all the comments. Man, seriously, I can't keep up with all the freaking comments. That's what ham means? Hun, why did you let me say that? Thank you for tuning in, everybody. I'm going to move into the Hangout. We do one of those live every weekday with our patrons. Today's discussion topic, let's see here, because I do more interacting with people, my patrons. Today's topic is, I guess I'm going to be doing Apple Watch talk today in the Hangout. I mean, that's kind of all I've been talking about for the past day. No, it isn't. I've been talking about these guys. Let's face it. Come on. Cool, huh? Yeah. Come for the LG G4. Stay for the Biker Scout action figures. 3 generations of Biker Scout action figures, including my vintage. Look at that guy. Oh. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your support. Thank you for tuning in. I love you. I do. I appreciate you. I do. But at this point, I'm going to leave you to your own devices.